Okay, so today we're talking YouTube upgrades and specifically small YouTuber upgrades because that's still what I consider myself. I don't make as much as a large YouTuber to support the cost of high-end gear on a regular basis. So everything I do, like you, if you're watching this video, is on a budget. So today, you're going to notice things are a little bit different because we went ahead and we upgraded the lighting. Let's talk about that in more detail right after a word from today's video sponsor. If you guys are looking for an affordable Windows 10 key, then you need to do yourselves a favor and check out VIPSCDkey.com. Using the link within the description below, as well as the coupon code GG20, you will have yourselves a brand new Microsoft Windows 10 Pro OEM CD key for as little as $15.82. What are you waiting for? Use that link within the video description, and thank you, VIP SCD Key, for sponsoring today's video. So, lighting, very, very important and very underrated when it comes to small creators. A lot of people tend to focus on things like their camera, things like their lenses, their memory cards, their audio, and although all of that stuff is great, if you have poor quality or quantity of light, the best camera will still struggle to give you the best quality output that it can. So what I have done in the past, and I'm going to show you guys some B-roll from some other productions if you're unfamiliar with the channel, is I've decided to upgrade from an old set of newer softboxes. I had these things for probably, I would say 4 years, give or take. And although I love them, they weren't giving me kind of the artistic direction and the control that I wanted moving forward to kind of elevate my quality of production for more videos in the future. So today you can see the primary lighting upgrade because I'm using it right now, and this is comprised and built from a couple of different utilities. So we're gonna go over that in today's video. Links, of course, will be in the video description if you guys wanna pick up any of this gear for yourself. But without further ado, because this is gonna be a quicker video than most, we're gonna talk about this light right here. And this is now my primary key light, and I have to say, it is fantastic. This is the Godox SL60W, and this is a lower cost Cob Light. It's very, very powerful, and honestly, it's very underrated. Even myself, I didn't know if 60 watts was going to be good enough, and in my mind, I thought I wasn't going to go any lower than 100 or 150 watts. But realistically, I shoot most of the time in a very low f-stop, f1.4, 1.6, 1.8, so light really isn't a primary concern for me. I can take a little bit of light and do a lot with it. Now, actually directing this light to me is also a Godox 47-inch softbox with a grid diffuser on it. And the grid diffuser is one of the more important aspects of this setup as well, because it helps control the light and make it very directional. Now, in past productions with my softboxes, the way that a softbox works is without a grid on it, you're just shining light directly out. Think of it almost like the cone that you see off of a flashlight. And what that was doing is it was causing a lot of spill on my background. It was blending everything together. It was taking those LEDs that you can see in the background that I want to start color coding to different videos to make it a little bit more cinematic, if you will. I'm not sure the words that I'm looking for here, but it was kind of making those bland, making those kind of dull in color because I was taking a light that was much brighter than those LEDs and just spilling it directly into the background. What this grid does on this softbox is it's directing the light primarily at me. I have it right now at about a 45-degree angle. It's facing downwards to give me a little bit more shadow as well. And the other thing it's doing, because it's literally right here and coming down, is it's not spilling as much of that light onto the background, meaning that you can see the background lights a little bit better, and it's also making me kind of stick out a little bit more as the focal point of these videos. Now, to help separate myself a little bit more as well, I do have a hair light on a C-stand right up here. This is a Sandmark RGB Pro light that they sent me a couple of months ago, and I've decided to repurpose it because it's very light, just for a little tiny hair light on the back here, just to further push me away from the background, give me a little bit more separation. And then over here, just for a little bit of fill, I do have just an RGB bulb. I've got a ton of these around the house. It's honestly nothing special. And I just have it in the blue color because right now the background is blue and purple. And I thought it would just kind of help accentuate the colors in the background, fill in a little bit of those shadows. This Godox light and this softbox really helps wrap that light, and compared to the softboxes when I used to have two because the shadows were a little bit harsher, the large surface area of this light allows for a little bit more of a wrap and a little bit better fall off when it comes to the light quality on my face. Now, this light being only 60 watts, like I said before, is very powerful. In fact, I actually have this light right now at only 60%, and I can see there's zebras on my face right now, but I like a little bit of extra exposure, then I can play with things a little bit in post. But I can't even imagine the need to shoot for this thing or with this thing at 100%. So I have almost half of my headroom left, which is perfect. Now, if you guys have been researching the Godox SL60W for a while and you're a little off-put from the fan noise that people are saying they're getting, there is a Generation 2 light. The Generation 2 is what's being sold more often than not on marketplace resellers like Amazon and things like that. Right now, I don't hear anything for noise. Mind you, I'm also not pushing the light to its maximum, but I wear a lapel mic, so even if there was a little bit of audible hum, if you do anything with audio in your videos, there should be no reason why you can't take that out if, let's say, you're using a boom mic and it happens to be picking up just a little bit of that hum. But for me, it's far enough away. I would say the back of that light is give or take about 4 feet away. I can't even touch the softbox right now. I have it positioned far enough away that it's not in the way, but close enough so it's actually casting some light on me that I can control. So I'm gonna go around, and what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna start turning off some of these lights to see if you guys can see a noticeable difference in the quality based on having just like, maybe you could call this 3-point light. We have a hair light, we have kind of a fill light, we have a key light. So let's go around. I'm not gonna change the settings on my camera. This is the A6100, which is a very commonly used YouTube camera. The A series primarily is all about the same, unless you go up to like the 64, the 66 that shoots in log and different things like that. This is just a modified portrait mode. We are shooting with 100 on the ISO, and then for the lens, we have the Sigma 16mm f1.4 shooting in f1.6. So we're gonna keep all of those settings the exact same. I'm gonna do a little bit of running around. We're gonna take a look at the before and after if we start taking some of these lights out. And then again, we'll show you some footage of what the previous lighting setup was. And then I'm just gonna ask for your honest feedback to see which setup you like more, which one is more appealing, and which one you guys think I should be continuing with going forward. So let's start shutting down some lights. Okay, so the very first one that we shut down was just this little fill light right here. Honestly, on the monitor on the camera, I'm not noticing a huge difference in quality loss or anything. It was just like a little bit of an accent piece. So I'm gonna change the color of that in different videos. And if you don't have a light that you could use to fill a little bit of the shadows, you can leave it like this. You can give yourself that nice dramatic shadow. It's very appealing for a lot of people depending on the type of content you're shooting, but you can also use a bounce board or anything like that, or even a white wall if you're closer to a wall, to bounce some of the light from your key to fill in this side of your face or your object or whatever it is that you're shooting. So let's go ahead and let's now take care of that hair light. Okay, so the hair light is gone, and now we're down to a one light setup. And again, from what I can see in the monitor, this is a very dramatic look, and that could be something that you guys are going for. I do find I'm starting to kind of go into the background a little bit, and mind you, you're not gonna notice a huge difference with and without the hair light because my TV behind me, or I guess the panel that I use, as a computer monitor, which is of course a TV, is adding a little bit of fill light because I have it on a very light background as well. So let's go ahead, let's turn that off, and then we're gonna see the difference before and after with that hair light. Okay, so with the TV off, now we don't have as much fill kind of on the back side here, and I've left it so far just with the Godox SL60 as the key light, and let me know what you guys think here. I'm gonna quickly toggle on the hair light to see if there's a massive difference in quality now that we have the back panel off. All right, so now we have the key light, we have the hair light, and I'm starting to notice a little bit of a difference. Again, I feel like I'm being pushed forward towards the camera just a little bit more. And actually, one thing I want to test as well is to see exactly how well products show up in frame as well with something like this guy here, which is just the key light. So being a true Canadian, we're drinking a Tim Hortons. And honestly, I really like the way that that looks as well. The light is wrapping around that kind of product, if you will, and it gives it kind of more of a dramatic feel, which I think is super cool. So let's go ahead now. Let's turn off the key light, see what it looks like with the absence of all the lights except for the LEDs. And then I'm gonna turn on the rest of the stuff, and then we'll kind of go back to the full setup here in a second as well. Okay, so here is the absence of light in total. So the camera's probably racking back and forth because it really can't see me at all. And the only thing that I have for lights in this room are some LEDs over here, which is my living room area, and then my LEDs here. So let's go ahead, let's turn on the background lights, so the hair light and then the accent light. We'll see what that looks like by itself, and then we'll refill ourselves with this Godox to see that overall look again without the TV on behind us. So here we are again with the fill light and then the hair light behind me. And if I turn off the fill light, you can now see that kind of right up here, we're just outlining my hair, we're outlining my shoulder, we're bringing kind of my image a little farther forward. Turning on that accent light, again, we have a little bit of blue cast here as well, just filling in a little bit of those darker areas. And now let's go ahead and let's power up the Godox again to see exactly what the end product is going to look like. And we're back with the finished product. So we have the Godox SL60W, we have a little bit of a fill, and then we have our hair light, and overall, I think we have the final image. Now, I'm gonna play with things as weeks progress, really find the concrete solution that I'm looking to do moving forward, but I think this is a great place to start. I love how directional this grid is at bringing the light to me. Of course, comparing the left to the right, we can see there is, of course, a little bit of spill on that left side comparatively to the right side because the Godox is coming across, and it is casting just ever so slightly, but not as bad as it was before. So background practical lighting is going to be very, very easy to do. And as an example, if we say, set desk lamps to gold, set desk strip to red, there. So now we have an entirely different look, and we can start color coordinating things. And for you guys, you could put fairy lights, you could put so many different things in the background to change the dynamic of your shots that I think it's an instant upgrade. The links are in the video description as well. This setup itself, I mean, you don't have to get the Sandmark light. I will link it, but you can get any RGB portable light or any lighting solution. Heck, you could, even if you have room, take one of your old Softboxes if you're upgrading like me and use that as a background hair light or just a separation light to bring you a little bit farther forward from your background and give that little bit of an extra divide. Over here with the fill, you could use bounce cards, you could use reflectors. This is just an RGB light bulb, so very, very easy to control. And then over here, we do have, again, that Godox SL60W. It is probably the most affordable Cob Light. Links will be in the description below for full kind of in-depth videos on this thing, because I didn't want to get into the nitty gritty and the specs because I'm not a lighting professional. I rely on lighting professionals to make more detail-oriented videos. I simply wanted to show you a before and after of how I personally am using this light. So if you guys are like me, you're doing some upgrades in your studio, you can kind of see a before and after in the quality of lighting between just some cheapy old softboxes that maybe you started when you started your channel and the direction that you can go in the future if you make a very small investment. And like I said, for me, this was under $300 Canadian. That's including the Cob Light, that's including this giant softbox as well. And the bigger the softbox, the softer the light, the more kind of controllable the light is. And this softbox, I think, was 88 Canadian. It did come with the grid as well. Now, as a side note, it does not, of course, the Cob Light itself does not come with a stand, so you will need something very strong. I tried to use the stand from my old newer lights, and it just was not strong enough to support the weight of this Cob Light and the Godox 47-inch softbox. So I ended up kind of repurposing one that I had from something else, I can't remember, and it's doing fine. I can't like put it super high, but it's honestly right where I want it to be. So I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a tour to close out this video as kind of the unofficial credits roll, to show you kind of everything and how it's set up for the future productions. But let me know if you found this video at all helpful. If you were like me and you were looking at upgrading your lighting solution and you just wanted some recommendations, I will again have links with better detail-oriented videos about the specifications of this light. I can tell you that it's got a pretty high CRI, so the quality of light, I can tell you it's 60 watts, and for me, based on this exposure that I have, this is at 60%. So there is a higher ceiling to this light if you want to keep it farther away or you're lighting different environments. But for me, I'm glad I made the investment. I thought, you know what, if it doesn't work, it's Amazon. They're pretty rock solid. I could return it if I'm not satisfied, but I am more than satisfied. I love this lighting setup. We're gonna get this all edited in post in the very first time that I'm editing this quality of light. So let's see how that pans out as well. But let me kind of do a little bit of a tour to show you guys how this setup is, kind of a little bit of a closer look of this light and some of the other lights. But before I leave the frame, if you like this video, go ahead and leave a like. Do comment below as well. Let me know if you guys were looking to upgrade your lighting, if you found this helpful, anything like that, or if you want more information. But until my next video, my name is Quasi Dog. You guys have been awesome, and we'll catch you guys in my next one. Take care.
Wasted. City lights are shining so bright. All these empty faces, we don't care about them tonight. We're going out of ourselves, can you feel it? Almost like I don't know if it's real, 'cause when we're doing our thing, where the wheels won't stop turning. I know we're acting stupid,